All right, welcome back. It's Saturday again. We are still working through our EverCraft kata because we like to play with things. Last time we went through iteration 2 and we kind of defined what a class might look like. And we applied that class to a monk, which had moderate requirements. One of the requirements we are not going to implement, we're not going to implement this last one because this concept of modules, I just don't feel like dealing with math on Saturday if I don't have to. um, anyway, I digress. So, what we're going to look at today is the wisdom modifier on the monk, and then we're going to apply our class concept to the fighter and see if our architecture will hold up to the different requirements of a different class. And then we'll go back and probably do like the paladin, because the paladin probably has like the most difficult requirements because because it has to have understanding of attacking another character based upon its alignment. So and we don't even think we've defined how we're going to define alignment yet. So I think we have. I think maybe a character has an alignment. Maybe a character has alignment. An alignment is a thing that it has. Yep, a character already has an alignment. Okay, so we do have a way to handle that. So we're gonna jump in and figure out this whole concept of applying the wisdom modifier to the armor class and go from there. So just coming over here and setting up the all right, so how do we do the wisdom modifier? So we've already got some monk tests, and I think we're testing the class, but I think we're actually testing like the character class of monk. So I don't know how this is gonna look, but we'll worry about the rest of that later. But yeah, so we've got a monk character. We set our fixture, so we should be able to just set a failing test relatively quickly, right? And just set it to whatever the requirements are. So and I'm horrible with names. Somebody reached out to me earlier this week and told me that and I watched them do. I think it was Sean Killian. His name sounds familiar. Did a thing on spec flow, and I was looking at spec flow, and spec flow actually might have been fun to try and do this, to actually define these things as spec flow behaviors and requirements, and then go down the path of implementing them. I personally find writing to unit tests, behavior driven tests is easier, and then going back and retrofitting functional tests later becomes easier as a result of having built unit tests. But I'm always open to discussion and suggestions. So, all right. So if we are given a monk, so we're just going to copy the requirements, right? So adds the wisdom modifier. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. All right, that did not work. So let's see. Can we get the stuff off? Because the README is doing its README thing again. Should be able to just copy that, right, and paste that there. There we go. So adds wisdom modifier if positive. Oh, okay. So it's only if it's positive. Okay. So this actually probably shouldn't be a fact. This should probably be a theory. I don't know if theory actually has a display name. Oh, it does. How about that? And we want to verify, given a monk to armor class, when constructed, because I think this is just like a then wisdom modifier added. I think we'll just do some inline data real quick. Inline data, and we'll do something similar to what we did before. So I think We'll have to go back and look because this is why we have documenting codes. So we don't have to document these, so we don't have to remember these things in our head. I think we can do int wisdom, and we can just assign what the wisdom is gonna be on the character. So if I can do character dot width, oh, this is where it gets weird because, oh wait, no, this is a monk character fixture. This is still just a monk character fixture, so I should be able to. Let's go look at see what this this monk character fixture allows. Let's go look at the character tests. I'll look at the character fixture real quick. With name, with roller, with class. Oh, we have the factory. We have to override the factory and override the factory so that the factory returns. Okay, so we need to do, we might need that as well. So we'll do var ability factory equals substitute dot for I ability factory dot create. What are we creating? We're creating wisdom, right? Yeah, because we need the initial set of the thing to be a positive on our scale. So that would be whatever the wisdom is that we pass in. Right, and then we give that factory to, and then at the end of that, the monk, because this has nothing to do with attackers and defenders today, then monk dot armor class should be 2. Now this is going to fail, but that's fine. I kind of want it to fail. This is going to force me to go back and look at the code. So this is another trick that I use, right? I'll find the failing case, or I'll find the failing test. Pardon me, it's the first pollen has fallen in Texas, so I've got a fun day full of allergies ahead of me. But anyway, what this one of the tricks that I use is I'll use a failing test to force me to go back and look at the code with a different eye, because now I'm not looking at it from the, oh, let me look through this code. I'm looking at it from a, hey, I've got this failing test. What else could potentially be impeding this chunk of code from working correctly? So we're just gonna run it real quick, and we're gonna create a new session. I think we're gonna create a new session from all the monk tests and just start from there. Thank you, Ryder, for making creating a session easy and enjoyable. All right, so I remember last time on stream we were like, oh yeah, I'll fix this off stream. I did not fix that. So we didn't start by running our tests. So actually, let's go ahead and be good stewards, and let's take these things off for a moment, and let's just run all of our tests and see where we are. And I think we're gonna ignore that failing test today. I'm gonna fix it later. We may end up fixing it as a result of implementing the fighter, and that may be how it works, right? Like, oh, let's just say a bug got through, and we're building on top of this architecture. We find the bug, and we have to, figure it out while we're implementing the fighter. So, we'll get there. I'm pretty sure of that. So I've got one failing test, which is this one, which is a object reference error on line 29 of the attack, where it's probably the modified characters not defended. That might actually have something to do with just the construction of the test too. So I think that's why I didn't harp on it too much. So we're going to. So I've been working with InUnit a lot lately, and I forget how it works in XUnit. So I think it's just Is there an ignore? Oop, oop. Right, he's clicking buttons. Take away my keyboard. I am not fit. Ignore. Ignore. Oh. I forget there's a, oh my goodness, this is really gonna piss me off now that I can't remember the API, so I'm gonna click on this and we're gonna look at the API. For this, there we go, let's just skip. Oh, wow. Skip equals, what is skip? Skip is a string. Oh, I give it a reason why it needs to skip. Wow, that's great. Way more enjoyable. So what are we gonna say? Skip because we broke something and we'll fix it later. Yeah. And I'm gonna see that skipped test and I'm like, why is there a skipped test in my output? And I'm like, oh, did we do that? Watch, that test is gonna be there for like the next couple of streams. And I'm just, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. And you're gonna see exactly why you don't do bad things like that. Don't comment out tests. Don't be like me. Be better than me. Yeah. Okay. So adding the modifier breaks. Oh, because the armor class should be 2 and it's finding 10, right? So, okay, so let's go to our... We defined a dictionary inside of somewhere. So this is one of the issues with encapsulating data and putting stuff in places is you forget where it gets encapsulated. So remembering where code is becomes more of a hindrance. So what are we looking for? I want to say... What do we call it? It would have been abilities, right? I don't think we actually ever... Yeah, we never even used that, so we can get rid of that. Let's just go to where the ability factory is and let's dig through that. Create instance of thing. Charisma, intelligence, ability. Ooh, are we really using activator? I guess I don't care. Okay, it is in the base ability. Okay, so let's go look at this in the Explorer real quick. Oh, because that's the right class. So if we wanted to do this properly, those are in the EverCraft namespace, but are they in the EverCraft ability? Yeah, we probably want to put this... Okay. I think I know how I want to slice this now. So we're going to have characters, which is going to be where all of the character, okay, this, and this base stuff can be. Then characters have abilities, right? So we can put our ability stuff under there. The alignment we don't need to do anything about. They will have classes, so we can put classes underneath characters now. Yeah, that feels good. I don't think we need any of this junk anymore, so I think I'll just delete this whole folder. Wait, let's take this piecemeal. Let's be smart about this. Okay, modifiers, class modifiers. Ooh, the monk character lives there, so we probably need to put that here for the moment. And those are all class modifiers, right? So under classes, instead of traits, what we want to put here is add directory modifiers. Sorry, we're doing a little bit of cleanup. I've been like kicking. I went back and watched Jimmy Bogard talk about feature slices last week, and it reminded me why I prefer feature slices, and I need to get back to doing that. You know, when you work on different different code bases. Everybody has kind of their own way of doing things, so you kind of have to conform to what people want. But when you get a chance to make your own decisions, it's always good to remember the decisions that you prefer. Yeah, let's grab all that. Stick it there. An I modifier can be at the high level. And classes can have modifiers, right? Because that's a cross-cutting concern across that vertical slice. Okay, cool. I don't think we need the traits. We're gonna run all our tests again and just verify that everything runs. Then we're gonna go create a session for our stuff. We're gonna rename some namespaces. This is good. Still one failing test. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and adjust namespaces in the project. Yay. And it refactors all the things. Cool. And I'll probably have to go back and clean up the tests later. I'll probably go look at the tests in a minute and be like, oh, we need to clean these up. Because that's kind of how that works. Every change begets something else. Let's close all the other tabs. Let's get back to our test. And we have this test. So, okay, where were we? We were in the abilities. That's how all this started. And I was like, oh, we need to take this and we need to move all of these things out into their own concerns. Move everything in the file. That's how that started. Okay, so we've got our core abilities, so we can just look at this class. And in here we have this dictionary. That's our table that tells us what the what the value of the ability is and what the modifier they get. So with the 15-point modifier, we expect 2. And oh, we could do a couple of tests here. Okay, so let's even have some fun, right? So we can do wisdom modifier. Or do we want to? Do we want to test just the wisdom and I feel like we should test the wisdom by itself and then the wisdom plus the dexterity. So the wisdom at minimum, like I feel like that's the minimum amount of surface area around testing we want, because those are two explicit behaviors. One is the wisdom modifier works by itself, and the other one is the wisdom modifier works independent of the dexterity modifier. So that it proves that they're not coupled, but they're cohesive. Maybe I'm just using big words to sound smart. That's probably what it is. When constructed, then wisdom and dexterity modifier added. Wisdom. I just want to see how they define them here, because I always like to go in order. They defined them. What did they define them? Modifiers can be damage modifiers. So, okay, dexterity comes before, so we'll just do int. Dexterity. Okay, and that would be like 15, and then our expectation would be something else. So we could also send in our expected result, which is probably what we'll end up doing here in a minute. But adds the wisdom. Adds wisdom modifier if possible. So, okay. That will be that test. Full stop. If positive. So we need to check. Okay, so we need to. This is why we're doing a theory, right? Because we need to check that if we send in something lower than that, right? So let's go back to our ability real quick. Let's pin this tab. Pin the tab. Okay, so 10. So if we get to 9, right? So let's start at 9. 9 is going to be the lowest. That's going to be below 0. Let's do 10. Let's do 11. Let's do 12. 12, I think, gets us our first. Yep, 12 gets us our first. So we'll do that range from -1 to 1 in terms of modifiers, right? That'll give us a clean data surface to determine whether or not this thing is accurate. So we will have to send that in, as well as send in what we expect it to be. So here we would still expect it to be 10. Here we would expect it to be 10. Here we would expect it to be 10. And here we would expect it to be 11, right? So this is going to be the int armor class. I know my British and Australian friends would be like, Rodney, you're spelling it wrong. Yes, yes I am. All right, so we expect the armor class to be the armor class, right? Yeah. And then this one will show dexterity plus and armor class. So let's grab this. Yeah, we know we're not using you just yet. And we're not going to use it down here either. This is going to be the expectation. We're going to take probably the same range just to make life easy. Right, and to point out that a negative dexterity modifier could still potentially cause problems, right? So we're going to do some symbiotic values that depend on each other. 10, 10, 10. That's 10 across the board, right? If I have 10 and 11, or if I have 11, which is dexterity. So if our dexterity is, and we have 11, right? Then I would expect it to be 11. And then if this is like, let's call this 12, and let's call this oh, I get what I'm doing wrong. So these are both below, one above and the wisdom below. All right, this is the wisdom above and the dexterity below. We could actually test a whole bunch of stuff here, but so we're just gonna stop and just put that as 15 right now. That's probably gonna fail, and that's fine. All right, so let's open our test pane again real quick and run these tests. All the wisdom ones should fail. Yep, there we go. We got ooh, found. That test was passing like 20 minutes ago. All we did was create new tests. What did we break? What did we break? How do we break that? Expected value to be 12, but found 6. What did we break? We haven't even changed any of that. All we did was move where the character class is, but that shouldn't matter. Let's figure that one out. I haven't touched any of that, so let's just do a fresh, clean build. Clean solution. I'll build. Everything's fresh. Oh, we're not running the tests? That's interesting. Need to fix that. Test execution should definitely be part of that build. So we'll have to fix that too. Starting to put issues on the log for things that we need to fix. Anywho, so let's go and now run all those unit tests. And it fails again. Okay, so something weird is happening. So what do we break? How do we break that? Did we change the way the experience increase? Ooh. Maybe, oh, wait, no, but these, This test was passing before I made these changes. Oh man, I love this. I love this part of the development cycle. It's just like, okay, what did we break? Okay, that's a race condition. Oh! Don't tell me I have shared state and I violated like my number one rule. Yep, I did. That's not gonna do what I wanted to do ever. Okay, let's. Well, it should just create one with the same name, but then the rest of it should be different, right? But I guess not if it's the same. So when I run all of them, it fails. But when I run that one, it succeeds, which means this state is being shared across. Okay, so then we could turn this into a function and then it would return a new one every time. So then the static function would return a new thing as opposed to getting newed up to a thing. I think that's the better way. Ooh, don't do that. Delete. There we go. So now if I go back to my tests, now hopefully this gets rid of the problem. Because that just gives me a function. So now it's a function that's returning a new one every time, as opposed. So it's a static function that's returning a new one every time, as opposed to a static instance that is being shared across. I just state is hard. I'll just go ahead and say it. State's hard. State is a very hard thing to deal with. I feel like state is the majority. Oh wait, I was about to make a joke or a parody or something or. Because one of the main things we talk about when we talk about RX is, there we go. One of the main things we talk about when we talk about RX is state management and how state is hard and state is like mutable state is the biggest amount of complexity. There was a white paper written, I want to say it's called Out of the Tar Pit, that talks about that. And it basically what they come to the conclusion of is that the hardest amount of effort for developers is maintaining state in an application. So RX seeks to manage state as opposed to maintain state. So I'm starting to learn so many new things about state that I never paid attention to before. Oh, sweet. Some of my tests actually passed. So let's go look at the failing ones. So I'm learning a lot of new things around how state is actually managed, what it means about scoping, life cycles of dependencies, and all of that jazzmatazz. It's just getting really fun as I pay more and more attention to it. Okay, so it expected it to be 10, but found, or 11, but found 10. Which means that we haven't added our wisdom. Oh wait, no, this is this one. Here we go. Let's shrink some of this stuff up a little bit, yeah, so we can get some more surface area and look at some of these tests. And being a good steward of the code writing, what I should do is make all of this easier. Okay. So this is failing for this case. But it's not failing for the 12? Oh, that's the case it's failing on. Okay. Wisdom 12, armor class. Okay, so we need to go implement that in the monk character such that when a monk Okay, so is that how we're going to do this? How do we determine we were doing this? Because I know we have these modifiers. We have that modifier. So is it that we want the base stuff on the character to be stuff we have to change out? So I guess that's an armor class thing, and we explicitly set the armor class here. So it's protected set. Armor class is being set where though? Let's go back and go look at that. So it's got 4 usages. One of those usages is an assignment. It's the only assignment we have. We haven't done anything that modifies this yet, huh? But we did one that modifies hit points. So let's go look at how we did hit points, because I'm feeling, yeah, however we did hit points is how we're going to want to. Monk character starts with 6 hit points. Monk character dot modify hit points. Okay, so we can just do a override on modify armor class on the. We could do protected. It's gonna be modify armor class. Where's this usage? Execute level up. Ah, okay. I see what we're doing. Maybe we don't need it there though. Maybe it doesn't need to be on this one. Maybe we can put it on the one that has a particular, like, is it? I don't know if we need it on that one. So like, let's put the abstraction where we need it when we need it, and not where we don't need it when we don't. Maybe this is gonna be some type of like. Oh, I guess in order to do it the way I want to, I would have to apply it here. But this thing has no I'm starting to get mad at this. All right, fine, whatever. Let's keep going. Let's keep going down the track. Kill that, modify that. That's going to be armor class equals plus equals oh wait, no, we can just set it in the monk. What am I doing? We can just set it right here, right? We can just say armor class equal to whatever. We can say armor class equals 10 plus. Okay, we can do, or we can try this. We can do this dot when any value x dot class, right? So when the class gets set, it'll get lit up. Dot dot modifiers dot where any dot any strikes again. And what we will do is we will say, oh, and that we'll have to change that to a protected set if it's not already, but I think it already is. And we'll have to say any x dot any modifier is no, because like in this instance, this is where it starts to break down. Like in this instance, I don't think we need to care about a modifier or any of that, right? Like this is just when we check your armor class, we allow you the ability to modify the hit points per level, but we don't really need to do that with this. We just need to be able to say armor class plus equals wisdom. Okay. Let's kill all this noise. And really what we want to say is armor class plus equals, no, not plus equals, because we need to make sure that, okay, equals 10, which is the default, plus wisdom greater than 10 modifier, right? Like that's basically what we want to do. So what we want to say here is that the armor class is equal to 10 plus abilities first. X is wisdom dot modifier, right? And that may get it. No suitable method override. Yeah, because we actually don't want that. We don't need that for this. I just realized that, like, we don't need that to implement this, which is good. Right? That lets me know that there's more stuff that we can get rid of, more cruft we wrote that we don't need. So that gets back to we shouldn't be doing things unless we need it. All right, so I think I kind of want to win any value on this. What, this is new, right? Like, this is going to tell me that it, yeah, add the new keyword, so I don't need this here. So I think I need to do like a win any value. I don't think I need that there either. So what do you... There, we happy now? Oh, okay, so this will get me part of the way there. All right, that'll get that test to pass. Value parameter cannot be null. Debug. Wait, put the breakpoint. Put the breakpoint. However, did I guess? I kind of want this to be like an IMPC thing. Like I want it to emit. I don't want to make it a source cache. I don't want to go through. I don't want to use observable extended or observable collection extended. I don't want to use observable collection. I don't want to create my own type. So I guess I'll just make the thing IMPC for now. Which means it's going to need at minimum a private set, I think. Or maybe it won't even generate for the private set. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. Auto property accessor is never used. Let's go. Oh. This is what happens when you leave code sitting around and don't clean up behind yourself. We decided a couple of streams ago that these are just properties on... Jeez. Golly, gee willikers, Batman. Alright, so... And some of these are reactive properties and some are not. So we're going to go to town and we're going to clean stuff up. So we may not actually even get to the fighter today, but well, we'll see what happens. I thought we were, but we just got so much code to clean up because this no longer exists and we actually don't want this to use that. That goes away. And now my test, oh wait, where was I? My code that was using, now this can just do wisdom.modifier. Hey, that looks way cleaner. That's why we created the ability factory, so that we could just factory out the stuff. Still failing, but that's probably the same failing test from the same stuff that's broken. Oh wait, no, we wanted to debug that, not run it. Come on. We are doing good. I think that's Apple D is what it said. I think I read that right, so I think I'll start using the key. Wonder why key promoter doesn't pop that up. Hey, Rodney, you're a dumbass. Okay, here we go. I got this now. So, what we want to do, this dot win any value x. Oh wait, do we have the this dot win proper? Oh, we are. Which ones are we using? Let's go to this dot win any. Okay, so we've been using the win property change stuff. Okay, so we've been using the new stuff. The source generator stuff, which Glenn and I were looking at last night. So this win property value changes. X dot burp. Import missing reference. X dot wisdom. I think we just need the wisdom. When the wisdom is set, we can go ahead and set. Oh, we're gonna have to do two things though. So we're gonna just go ahead and beef up. Oh no, we're gonna do one thing at a time. We're gonna still do one thing at a time. So one thing at a time, and then we'll show how we can expand for that in a minute. So we're gonna do a subscribe, and in our subscribe, we're gonna take our ability. And we're just gonna plan for the future. And we're gonna say armor class equals 10 plus abilities Are you gonna do this too? Okay, we don't recognize RX today. Plus modifier, right? And we'll do about dispose with subscriptions. Do we have a base? Do we have a base for disposables yet? It would be good if we do. No, we don't, and we don't have any thing here. All right, so we'll do protected, composite, disposable. We'll do character. Character subscriptions. And in reality, I have a feeling I'm going to come back to this and be mad at that in like 10 minutes, but that's another thing for another day. All right, so now if I run this, maybe it'll work. Oh wait, no, it's still going to blow up. Stop. Because we didn't get rid of this. We're going to see if that one works for us. It may not. This generated code may not work the way... Okay, it does work. So expected value to be 11, but found 10. Okay, so we're not getting an object error, which is yay. But we're still not getting what we expect, which is boo. I'm not even seeing that happen. That's weird. How is that possible? So at the point that it's been constructed, watch, this is going to be another timing thing. If I have to start dealing with time complexity, folks, I'm gonna quit while I'm behind. Armor class is 11. I'm looking at it. I don't think this matters. And it's just clouding up our tests. Let's get rid of it. And let's run this again and see how... Let's just go grab all the monk tests and run them all again. Oh wait, no, we want to... Yeah, they created a new session. Good. It automatically did it for us. Let's just go look at the ones that are failing. And it's still telling me that when the wisdom is 10, the armor class is 11. Okay. How do we handle this then? Because at the point this is trying to consume it, it hasn't been constructed, so you have to defer it. So we're deferring it. We're saying when the value ticks, this when okay. All that stuff seems to be fine. But all that is happening after the fact, right? We want this to be done on construction, and that's where we're running into the problem. Okay. So how can we guarantee that the armor class, which is in the base, is and I bet it's right there in the stupid debug output too. I'm gonna go look because I always tell people it should be in the debug output. There should be something in here about find Poco. No? Poco? Okay. It's not in there. Maybe I don't have it logged in correctly. That's a possibility. Oh yeah, their unit tests may not be logging to the console at all. Duh. So I know what's happening here. I have a when property value changed on the ability, but the ability is not set to a reactive property. So it'll never notify a second value, which is intriguing, to say the least. So let's put that there, and there, and there, and there, or Fody will yell at us. Like, quite literally yell at us. And Fody will tell us, we cannot do what you want us to do because you have not satisfied the contract. Alright, so now I would expect us to hit this breakpoint. Because now I would expect there to be a second property change notification. Come on. No, still nothing? Still no breakpoint, huh? Let's go look at the base. Ooh. The base. Characters score of Am I not able to override that? Am I not able to override that default value? Oh. Okay. I might have a mocking issue then. Dun dun dun. 10 dot returns new wisdom with wisdom. Run. Still no good. Okay. Okay. So it will at least return. Oh, it's returning null for the wisdom. That would be a problem. Stop. Okay, so I do have a mock issue. So my mock's not being respected. Do I pass it this with factory? With ability factory. Underscore ability factory, underscore ability factory. So where do I new up my, where's my build method here? So I pass in my ability factory, so do I substitute for the ability factory? Whenever the ability factory create wisdom 10 is created, instead return a new wisdom with whatever value I tell it to, right? And what this thing is telling me is that the value on the man, oh man. All right, so let's see if changing that helps. I still don't think it will, because what it seems like is when we construct the monk, the factory is null, which is weird because it's getting, which means this thing may still be broke, which doesn't make sense because it should just return a character fixture with that particular name every time, right? Okay. What am I not thinking? What am I not seeing? There's something here. It's simple enough for whatever ridiculous reason. It's telling me that the ability factory itself is null. And that just doesn't make any sense based on what I see. Everything in the fixture is set up correctly. Everything's set up as well as I can tell, so okay. Maybe that means we need more coffee. And coffee will solve the problem. Okay, so we have a valid substitute here. We set the substitute there. Oh, it returns no for those cases. Okay. Yeah, now we have a wisdom. Perfect. Okay, it was just our test construction. Boom. Now we get our wisdom modifier. Our test should pass. Our armor class should be 11. Yay. I was like, man, I'm starting to get... Am I losing my mind? All right, but that still doesn't actually solve the requirement, right? Because we can very easily... This test is still brittle. Because if we run all the monk tests... Not just the ones that previously succeeded. Some of these are probably going to fail now. Yep, yeah, there we go. There's an additional failing test on the wisdom modifier one. Now, because we've wired it up correctly, when we expected it to be 10 but found 9 because it's applying the negative modifier. So we just need to go back and say, where not null, want to so it's funny, I kind of want to do like a where not null operator and then do like a where not null and like give it a expression lambda and then like have an and like have that be like the and, like where not null, like where the thing is not null in this condition. Unfortunately I don't have that right now, but I know smart people that if I tell them like, hey, what do you think about this, they're like, oh yeah, that's easy to write, and they'll go off and figure out how to write it, and then people like us can consume it. Anyway, I joke, I keyed. So let's do dot where x So I mean, in all honesty, okay. Let's stick to the requirement, and we'll just say where modifier is greater than 0, right? Because that's what the requirements say. If the modifier is positive, add it. So we'll just go with what the requirements state, and we won't try and be, super smart. Because every time I find myself trying to be super smart, I find myself doing something ridiculously silly. Okay, so now we have the expectation that if we... Let's go back to our ability real quick, just so we can see. 12 has a 1 modifier and 11 doesn't. So let's do this is where it gets weird, right? Like 12 and 13. I guess 13 has the same modifier, right? Yeah, 13 has the same modifier, so that's fine. So then we would expect this to be 12. It's pretty awesome, right? Be a monk and like your collective knowledge adds to how much damage you can withstand. That'd be awesome. Expected value to be 2, but found 10. Oh, we're expecting the armor class to be that, right? So we don't need this dice stuff, which will only get in the way. We didn't break the world with our monk stuff, which is great because that means we can actually use this pattern going forward. Is that how we were doing in the other tests? Okay, yeah, okay. So we got some doing it that way. Okay. So now we're gonna go back and add the dexterity modifier, right? And we're gonna do where we do dexterity. We're gonna do new dexterity, and we're gonna pass in dexterity, right? Okay. Okay, so this should all fire up. And some should pass and some should fail. The last one's, yeah, there we go. The 10, 11, 11 failed. Now it should just be one failing. Haha. All right, so let's go back to the character Dilly Bob, and now we want to do this, right? We want to say instead of property value change, and do when properties value changes, which is hard to say, but that's getting cleaned up in the next version because naming things is hard. Dexterity, and we want a selector where we take the, oh wait, we want dex, dexterity, and wisdom, but we actually want to swap these in the space time. We want this one first and that one second. Yes, there we go. Perfect. I'm gonna take that. Oh, paste it, and then we're going. Wait. What did we just do? We just broke it. We wanted to copy that, and then we wanted the fat arrow and paste it in there. There we go. Let's. Oh, I don't have the right editor config on this, so it's not gonna reformat. Joy. All right, so I've got that. So now I can do where the dot wisdom modifier is greater than 0, right? Oh no. Because we're still gonna, ooh, this is where it's gonna all get weird, yeah? Because we still want to apply the armor class for the dexterity, even though we don't apply the wisdom, right? So we can't really do a where wisdom modifier is greater than 0, right? And that, well, I guess that can't be the only condition. We'd have to check both of them. Where wisdom modifier is greater than 0, or no, we're still gonna have to check. I don't like this because I want to do everything in a nice terse way, and I should be able to do all of this with expressions, and I feel like I'm gonna have to introduce an if statement, and that's bothering me. So let me think about this a little bit longer, right? So what I want to do is I want to say, hey, whenever the wisdom and the dexterity are set, when the conglomeration of those values is not null, right, then okay, where wisdom modifier is, okay, so I can just project the final value. I can just just select a value out here. So I can just do that select. Let's just go ahead and say X, and let's do some stuff, right? So let's just go ahead and put our if statements in here for the moment, and then we'll clean this up in a minute. So if the wisdom, no. We want the X dot wisdom dot modifier is greater than 0. Var result equals 0, right? That's going to be our return value. So we're going to say result plus equals x dot wisdom dot modifier, right? And regardless of that, we are going to say result plus equals x dot dexterity dot modifier, right? And then we're going to return the result. Like, that's basically what we want. And then this can just be whatever the ability is, right? We can then section this off to its own expression. Like, I'm surprised ReSharper hasn't told me, hey, you can do this better, and doesn't have to be as bad. Deconstruct parameter into add name selector to anonymous method to named method to local function. Boom. Let's call it select armor class modifier. Okay, so now all this should just work, right? So I should be able to run all these tests. All the tests except for the one that we have ignored, don't remind me, should light up green. Wah, 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 wah. Oh yeah, we would expect it to be 9 because now the dexterity modifier is there. Yep. And the dexterity modifier would bring it down. Okay. This is saying that an object reference is not set to an instance of an object. Well, what do you know? Where... Okay. Dot where x dot wisdom not equal to null and x dot dexterity not equal to null. How's that sound? Now you can run this and we should get the thing. Mostly of the green lights. Okay, now this is at least doing a value. And this is saying the value of 12 should give armor class expected value to be 11 but found 10. Ooh, 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 ooh. No. Because that means that it should oh wait, I do have to give it a thing for dexterity now in this test. Let's try this one more time. Hey, I've got green lights. I feel better. Life is good. So that shows us now that we have a for the monk at least, the wisdom and dexterity are a package deal. They come together, so we can't really segregate that anymore. So we go ahead to the terminal, git add git commit -m finished monk requirements requirements. Boom. All right. So let's try to do this fighter thing. Let's go where we created the monk character. Alright, so we've got the monk character here. We've got our tests there, and we've got our readme. So let's go back to our readme, and let's go look at what a fighter is. As a fighter, so I can kick butt and take names. So let's go create some tests. Okay, we're gonna, yep, remember earlier when we said we were gonna reconfigure tests? Off we go on another adventure. Characters, character test, character fixtures. Boom. Okay. Classes. F12 classes. Yay. Hopefully it renamed the namespaces. If not, it's all about to get out of whack anyway. So class tests. Monk tests. All right, so let's do add class fighter tests. All right, so we'll create an XUnit test that says should entity given fighter when constructed. Then what's the first requirement? Has 10 hit points. Boom. All right, so let's get our fact in here. So this little rider plugin is a cyclomatic complexity plugin, which I am finding more and more awesome. It gives me this nice green light when things are simple. It gives me a yellow light when things are getting a little too complex, and it gives me a red light when things are overly complex. The beauty of RX is that the majority of my methods end up being green because the complexity is minimal, i.e. the amount of branching logic and for each loops that have to be done in the code itself is minimal. So given we have a fighter character oof. We have Gyatso as our monk. Who do we want to be our fighter? Who do we want to be our fighter? Let's come up with like a clever name for a person, place, or thing that could be a fighter. I got it. Ali. Ali will be our fighter. And we'll come over here and we're going to take this internal class and we're going to copy the gist of it. Yeah, I get it. And we're going to do an add class. We're going to call this Ali. We're going to paste the internals of this class into that class. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to call this class internal. We're going to remove one of those, but just one, not too many. We don't want this to be the monk. We want this to be the fighter character, which we haven't created yet. So we'll go back and create that in a second. Character class, monk character should be fighter character. This would be fighter character fixture. No, yeah, oh, okay, we didn't get a chance to rename that, so boo. This will be public static. There we go. Copy that, paste that. Okay, so Ali. All right, so we don't have that thing defined yet, and we have that in our test as well. So let's go back over here. Let's go and add a fighter character class, and now our tests won't yell as much, but they probably still will, because they'll probably say, hey, you don't implement the right interfaces. Oh, really? Really? Why? Oh, because we need to import namespace. Import namespace. Why are you still yelling? Cannot convert monk fixture to type Ollie fixture. Why should you? Oh, dun dun dun. I see what happened. Do you see what happened? I do. Paste. 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 And paste. Okay, so that should get rid of a good amount of the stuff. Oh, we need to go ahead and create the constructor in the thing. This needs to now inherit the same. Oh, wait. Yeah, we need this to be character of type fighter. I have a feeling in the very near. Perfect. Oh, this is so great. Call the base. And pass in the roller. And ability factory. So now my test will at least execute. That's a thing. Class monk tests. Where did my fighter tests go? I have, okay. Have we still not figured that part out? Did we still not get this right? I am amazing. I am so good at the code. So very good at the code. Okay. Yeah, there's no more errors, just warnings. So now at least I have a system under test, and what we want to say is that the system under test dot hit points should be 10. Right, because that was our requirements. Let's go back. Let's pin these real quick. Pin the tab. Let's unpin the monk tests and the monk character. We already killed that session. We've got class character. Oh, duh. Let's go to the README. Let's grab the requirement and paste it in as the description text on the test. A fighter has. Okay. We already have a very similar test for the monk, don't we? Because his hit points are 6 per level. So we can take this test. Haha. Dun dun dun. I love when we can just reuse stuff. Right? When level up, hit points increase. Given fighter. When level up, hit points increase. Has 10 hit points per level. So we should be able to take this and change that to our fighter Ali. Ali. And now we want to change this to fighter. No, let's just call this our system under test, because that's what it do. There we go. That's what it is. Did we really do that at the other? Man. And this should be. Wait. I'm sorry. Has 10 hit points per level instead of 5. The average person has 5, so that means at that point you should have 20 because fighters have more. So fighter has 10 hit points per level. That's a fact. And when it's constructed, it should have 10 hit points, right? So when we level him up, he should have 20, and when we give him whatever, cool. So let's run that, because the fighter seems easy enough to implement these problems on. And then next week we'll get to the paladin, and I'm sure that we will re-question all of our architectural decisions at that point to determine, oh my goodness, we did everything wrong. That's usually how that works. Expected value to be 10, but found 5. Okay. So now we're going to go to our character. We are going to override, modify hit points. We have another override of modified hit points in the monk. So we're going to take that implementation real quick. We're going to go back here. We're not going to call the base. We're going to say hit points equal to default hit points plus 5. It doesn't say anything about a constitution modifier right yet. So the default hit points is 5. So hit points plus equals 5. And then the character just starts off with 10 hit points. So now if we go back and run these tests, everything should work. Showing that our architecture should be working out quite nicely. So now both of our tests pass and we say, ooh, ooh. Fighter has 10 hit points per level, so a fighter starts with 10 hit points. Boom. Okay. Cool. So let's clean up our tests. Let's clean up behind ourselves, because if we don't do it now, we won't do it later. Okay, so all that looks good. That's one requirement for the fighter down. What else do we have? Attack roll is increased by 1 for every level instead of every other level. Don't we have something like that for the monk already too? The monk has 3 hit points. Has a hit point modifier. Returns 1 as a hit point modifier. Okay, so we had to do an attack modifier this time. I don't think we've done, or have we done attack modifiers? Or our monk requirements, right? The monk does 3 points of damage instead of 1. So we did a damage modifier. Adds wisdom modifier, does 3 points of damage when successfully attacking. Okay, so we need to do something similar to this. Let's grab this. Oh no, this is our broken test. We are going to find out pretty quickly what the problem is. Like, oh yeah, we didn't fix this. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, so given a fighter, not a monk. Attack roll is increased by 1 for every level. What does that mean? That means we get like +1 to the die roll, or I think that's what that means. I think we built something for this already. I don't honestly remember because I've been sleeping a lot lately, so. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put Ali. That's going to be a fighter character. It's going to be 20-sided, although I don't know if we need that. So Ali is going to attack hate. And it's not that the defender should be, it's that the attack dot attack roll dot modifier dot should dot be one. Right, so so given a stock fighter, right, no specific stuff, no special talents, when the attack roll happens, the modifier should be 1, right? I love how I already knew that this unit test was going to come back to bite me in the butt. Like, oh, we'll just come back and deal with it later. And then a week later, you come back and it's still sitting there. And you're like, oops, maybe I should have fixed this the first time. Yep, you should have. When attack, doesn't matter if it's successful or not. When attack, then right? The fighter modifier exists. I don't know how to explain that. Words are hard. Things are hard. Fighter tests. We'll grab all those fighter tests and we'll create a new session and we'll run these 3 fighter tests. I like how the fighter was like, oh wait, it's gonna skip it. We don't want to skip it. We want this one to run so we can run into the exact same issue. Yep. An object implementing I handles observable errors, blah, blah, junk and stuff, blah, blah, didn't do stuff. Got it. That means that something in the observable pipeline. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, again, somebody should take my keyboard away and not let me write code, because that's what happens. I just start clicking buttons and things start blowing up. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Attack line 30. So let's go ahead and debug into this and start figuring out what exactly is null. Okay. So yeah, we have the ability factory. All that stuff is fine. Ability factory, that's fine. Yep, that's for the other character. Yep, okay, great. We're newing up like 4 characters, but whatever. Eventually we'll stop newing up characters. And then we get to what? Character line 121. Huh? And we create the race condition. That's what happened. We created a race conditions. Oh, race conditions. Okay. So the class. Oh, Bert. Yeah. So in the fighter, I have a feeling I'm again not going to like that, but again we will come back to these things. I like to not cast doubts and fears on stuff until things actually become problems, and then when they become problems, I deal with them. I'm not much one for dealing with like the big bag boogeyman, because like, okay, I'm not scared of the boogeyman. I don't think maybe I was when I was a kid, but I ain't been a kid for a while. I mean, I still look young, but definitely not a kid. So now they should get past that and fail somewhere else, right? Yep. Expected value to be 1, but found 0. Heck yeah. Okay, so it should... okay. Class modifiers. It should be an attack modifier. That attack modifier is going to be 1... okay, so it needs to know what, though? Value. How do we do this on the... okay, so on the monk, we created... This is going to be per level. So we're going to have to, okay, so we're just going to take the attack modifier, which is going to be 1, and then multiply it by the level. I don't like that because I'd like it all to be contained in the modifier, but for the moment, for the sake of requirements and moving forward, I am willing to make that that sacrifice. New attack modifier. Boom. Okay, so the attack modifier value is going to be 1, right? And then where's that other attack modifier getting usages? Class modifiers. I can't let that roll. I can't let that roll like that. I have to deal with this, right? So like I'm gonna hate myself for this in the morning because I'm gonna do something that a friend of mine does. And he's like, "Oh, Rodney, it's not that big a deal." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't like it, but today it's gonna solve my problem, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it." Fighter. Because it's a composition relationship, because I'm creating a composition relationship, and because I have access to the thing, I can do this stuff. So now I can do this, which I abs. It needs the generic in order to feel good about itself. Okay, so fine. There's that, and then I can do value times underscore fighter dot. Wah, 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 wah. Is that how you get ants, Underberry? That's how you get ants. Because it needs to apply this modifier per level, right? So that won't work. Which I'm actually glad that won't work because... But right now, this is going to get called here in the character. First to default, where X is attack modifier. So really what I need here is like a character attack modifier and not a class attack modifier because I want to modify the attack based upon the provided character. But the question is which side of the relationship should have the composition, right? Should it be that I compose an attack modifier around a character? Or does it make more sense for that a character would have a composed attack modifier? No, you would want to be able to inject an attack modifier. Okay, so if I was doing this in my brain, I would want an attack modifier that I could call based upon the character class, but that gave me access to the character itself, right? Like I would want to know the character. But we're saying that this has to be on the fighter, right? And this has to be every level. So we need some way to determine when we execute or when we construct the attack modifier. Okay, so this is where I am. This is where my brain is. We need some way that when we construct that attack modifier, maybe the fighter takes in the character and then that's a two-way reference, right? So like, okay, so we know that a character has a class, right? But like, how do we represent that? Should it be that the character has the class, or should it be that the class has like that we create a instance of a class that has a character attached to it. So like now I'm even looking at this like, should we invert the entire way that this is happening and have like the fighter wrap the character, right? And then it can just impose its stuff on top of it because it's now the stateful bag around it. I don't know if I'm doing this right at this point, but it's starting to feel like I'm running into issues where I don't want to. Because here what I would want to be able to do is just like pass in the character, right? When we construct it, be able to do this. So that way here I could pass in the character, right? And then here I would be able to do that times fight character, oof. Fighter character dot level. But I don't like that. It works. I just don't like it. And I know I'm being ridiculous right now, right? Like I know I'm being ridiculous. I don't care. I still don't like the way it's implemented. That doesn't mean that we can't find a better way. But right now, I just don't like the way this is going. So we may invert this, we may not. I don't know. Regardless, it's mid-afternoon. I'm gonna go find some more coffee somewhere, and I hope you enjoyed. And tune in next time, and we'll figure out how to implement the rest of the fighter. We'll probably reevaluate our composition, and then we'll probably look at the paladin and see if our current approach will solve the problem. And if it will, then great. And if it doesn't, then we'll have to figure something out. Neither here nor there. Thanks for your time.